board-certified pediatric endocrinologist with more than 25 years of experience as an academic physician scientist. Currently, she is a medical director at the Washington University Wolfram Syndrome Research Clinic, now in its 8th year. 9th year, thank you, Dr. Hershey. And next year we'll have a big gala. What's a gala sound to celebrate 10 years of the clinic?
In my room.
And she'll bring the blender. Dr. Marshall is one of the endocrinologists overseeing medical safety and collecting data in the safety trial of the Angelina study. So please welcome Dr. Marshall.
Can you hear me?
No. A little louder.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm very, very honored to be here. It's so nice to see all of you all here.
Louder.
Louder?
Yeah, there you go. Just hold it a little closer.
All right. Is that
There
better?
you go.
All right. So today I have the honor of being the moderator for this session where we're going to hear from some of our participants in the Wolfram Research Clinic and some in others' trials as well. So I have a series of questions that I'm going to ask them. If we have extra time at the end, then we're going to invite you all to also ask questions to them. All right? So let me introduce our panelists today. So I'm going to actually ask you to introduce yourself. So our first one is Ellie White.
Hi, my name is Ellie. I am 17 years old. I was diagnosed with Wolfram syndrome when I was 7 years old. I was officially told, my parents told me when I was 9 years old. And some of the symptoms that I am currently dealing with is I have type 1 diabetes, diabetes insipidus. I am greatly visually impaired. My vision is about 1200, I believe. And I just, try to stay positive and stay as active as I can.
Thank you. And our next participant is Nick Pagan. Will you introduce yourself?
Hello everybody, good afternoon. Full room. No pressure. So my name is Nick Pagan. I'm 26 years old. I was diagnosed with Wolfram syndrome at the age of 6. I never even heard the word Wolfram syndrome until I turned 18. And the symptoms that I deal with are diabetes insipidus, diabetes mellitus, optic atrophy, and deafness. So, big moment. And I get around it by just staying positive and living the best I can to my life motto, and that is don't worry, be happy.
And our next participant is Lauren Gibelisco. Just introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Lauren Gibelisco. I am 32 years old. I got Wolfram syndrome when I was 12 years old. I found out I had it when I was diagnosed. I have optic atrophy. I'm totally blind. I'm hard of hearing. I have diabetes insipidus. I get overheated easily. I have choking attacks. I have seizures that I take medication for, so I don't have them as bad as I used to. I get tired easily, but not as bad as I used to. I have short-term memory loss, so I'm sorry if I repeat myself too much.
Ataxia.
What's that?
Your balance.
Oh, I have bad balance. I use a cane to walk with, but I also have my mom walk in front of me, not just to guide me, but to lean on. for someone to hang on to, because I can't walk a straight line.
That's it.
Is that good?
That's okay. All right, that's it then.
She left out one thing. She knows more jokes than anybody ever has. Although Nick is close second. All right, and then our fourth panelist is Raquel Gable.
Hi, my name is Raquel Gable. I am 14 years old. I got diagnosed with diabetes when I was 4 years old, and I got diagnosed with Wolfram when I was 5 years old. Some of my symptoms are I have a neurogenic bladder. I have to catheterize every time I go to the bathroom. I have trigeminal neuralgia. I get really bad migraines whenever I have low sodium or a UTI. I get really bad choking episodes, but I've learned to manage them. I can see about 3 feet in front of me, and I have diabetes mellitus and diabetes insipidus. And my hearing is still pretty well. Sometimes my parents get mad at me because they'll be whispering and don't want me to hear something, and I still hear them.
Thank you all. So for our questions, I'm going to start with Ellie. So what would you tell someone who is newly diagnosed about living with Wolfram syndrome?
Okay, so for anyone who is newly diagnosed, I would say the biggest thing is just stay positive and don't think that, this is it for you. Don't think that you can't do anything. I know when I was diagnosed, I was the only one in Colorado where I live with the disorder that they knew of. And it made me feel kind of in the dark and alone. But, if you just have a positive attitude and stay, think happily and think that you can do this, and also just, stay active, have fun, do what you can, make friends, and just live life to the fullest. That's the biggest thing that I think really helps everyone.
All right, next question is for Nick. So despite Wolfram syndrome, where are you in your life as of now, and how do you overcome the challenges that Wolfram syndrome presents?
Okay, well, where I'm at in my life as of now, I'm currently living on my own and working. Transportation is a big obstacle due to the optic atrophy, so luckily I live walking distance from where I work, so that solves the issue of transportation, of course. And as far as helping out my vision around the house, I bought bump dots to label things like my washing machine, my dishwasher, things I frequently use so I know where to turn the knob. Transportation is a big issue, being unable to drive. Obviously I don't have the freedom to just jump in a car and go where I need to go. I rely on getting rides from my parents, from friends, utilize Uber and Lyft, the access transportation in the city I live, and the fixed route bus system.
All right. Lauren is the next question. Can you hear me? Can you tell us some different ways that you have used to overcome your vision loss?
Okay, in high school, I started losing my vision when I was in 7th grade, so when I was 13. I used enlarged books and later had enlarged papers. The teachers used black and blue markers on the board when I could see it. I let my upcoming teachers know the year before. I showed a PowerPoint presentation and showed them about my disease and what problems I had and what I needed help with. So they had a PowerPoint presentation to remind them and to refer them if they needed to go back to it. In college, I used a program called ZoomText on the computer. It enlarged the screen and read to me. In college, I used a program called WYNN, W-Y-N-N. I scanned my books into it and papers, worksheets, and it enlarged it and read it to me. So I did all of my homework on the computer. At home, I have dots on the microwave, stove, and washer and dryer to help me feel where things are at. I have them on my numbers so I know what buttons I'm hitting. So I'm able to use these devices when my mom is not home. I have a talking glucose monitor, so it reads me my numbers. I have a CGM that my numbers are sent to, and my phone talks aloud, so I'm able to read it or hear it. I do wash for my entire family. I separate the whites from the darks. I'm able to know what they are because the darks are like my dad's pants or a t-shirt, and my dad has buttoned up shirts, white shirts, and my mom has white shirts that have buttons at the top. So I'm able to sort the whites from the darks. And luckily, my dad only wears one color sock, so I do not mismatch any socks. I have a talking alarm that tells me the time. I have a rooster. It makes a rooster sound that wakes me up. I have a talking watch that tells me the time and date. I have a talking scale that tells me my weight aloud when I stand on it. I've had a couple of instances where people have been over and they stood on a scale not knowing that it talks aloud, and it says your weight is, and they make a whole bunch of noise, flush in the toilet, make a whole bunch of noise trying to write it down. Oh, I fold my money in certain ways to let me know what each dollar is. And I think that's it.
How do you work your insulin pump?
How do I know?
How do you work your insulin pump?
She doesn't have one.
Oh, I do not have an insulin pump because they do not have talking insulin pumps at this time. So I just have a CGM. Oh, I use clicking insulin pins, so I'm able to count the clicks. I'm able to count the clicks. It makes noises too, but I can't hear it. But I'm just able to count the clicks when I push it over.
All right. So the next question is for Raquel. So Raquel, what are your hopes and aspirations for the future?
I hope to get a cure sooner than later because I don't want the younger generation of Wolfram syndrome to have to go through what I've gone through and what Lauren, Ellie, and Nick have gone through. And I would like to be able to see eventually and be able to go to college and drive and live in a dorm and do everything my older sibling can do. To be honest, people don't know how lucky they are, I think, that they can see and be able to go to the bathroom and be able to go to sleep without a machine beeping saying your blood's high or your blood's low. And that's about it. Thank you everyone for coming out here today. It means a lot to me because all I've ever wanted was to be normal like my siblings, and the more support we have, the closer we are to getting a cure.
what would you like doctors to know about living with Wolfram syndrome?
So living with Wolfram syndrome is a struggle. It's challenging to, constantly keep track of your blood sugar and how many carbs and sugars you're eating, and how to treat yourself so you're living a healthy, good life. So I hope that doctors can appreciate that it is a struggle, and I don't want them to make a patient feel like they need to live a special life. I don't want them to think that the patient has to have no sugar ever. And can never go to like a birthday party and have cake and ice cream. They can live a perfectly normal life. I don't want them to make the patients feel like they need to, get special education or go to a special school or anything like that. I just wish that doctors, like the doctors I have been so blessed to be able to see, that they can make patients, like how they did me, make them feel normal and don't single them out and just make them live the best life they can.
You all are doing a fantastic job. So I have a question for Nick. What are some of your biggest challenges at school or work?
Definitely waking up in the morning. Well, so in terms of at work, a big challenge of mine is that I'm not able to do the tasks that require good eyesight. Isn't that a shock? So what I do, my boss is very accommodating, so I'm not required to do the things that require good eyesight. Instead, I do what I'm able to do to the best of my ability, good enough to make up for the things that I can't do. In school, a big challenge of mine was not being able to see the board in order to take notes. So the solution to that, again, accommodations. I had a note taker who I didn't know, who didn't know me. They was brought the notes down to the Adaptive Services office, and I was always emailed a copy of notes for every class. And hearing the teacher speak in front of the room would have been a problem, but again, accommodations, I was always given seating toward the front of the room, so I was able to hear what was being said very well.
All right. And Lauren, what do you like most about the Wolfram community?
I really like getting to know people or having friends all around the world. I've gotten to know different peoples from different parts of the world. We have a group on Facebook that we created called the Wolf Pack, where we all can share experiences with each other and share what we are going through and different ways we use to help each other. I love coming here to the clinic and getting to have kids or be around people that know what I'm going through and know what problems I'm facing. I love meeting the adults also and having someone for my mom to socialize with and share her experiences with it. I love getting to know the doctors that know about Wolfram syndrome and know what we are talking about. It's taken a long time to find doctors that know what we're talking about. And I love coming here every year. Thanks to Stephanie and the Snow Foundation, we now have this conference that we're able to go to. And thank you to all the doctors and everyone that works for the clinic. You have made this all possible.
Okay, I just want to add one thing, that we certainly appreciate your kind comments, but you all also made this all possible. And we can't thank you enough for all taking your time to travel to St. Louis. Sometimes we can arrange for your weather to be over 100 degrees. And we apologize for that. This time we were a little more lucky, but those were all terrific answers. So So now I have one more question, and any of you can answer this. Is there anything that we didn't already ask you about that you would like to talk about?